In terms of the conversation, very quickly, because we'd also been asked about it before it was even played. Whether is this the way conversations, telephonic conversations or other online conversations with your chief of staff was handled, that they were recorded, apparently without the consent of in this case, Mkhwanazi. And Mkhwanazi, I think, mentioned in his evidence that some version, a bit distorted apparently, appeared on social media, and he wasn't happy about that. So, yeah, so the question is just that: are you aware that your chief of staff, obviously, you know, he recorded it, he mentioned it to you, but is this the way you conducted things in your office?
No. No.
Okay, then maybe we'll ask him for a reason why he recorded Mkhwanazi without his consent, or is there a legal reason that you as a minister and your chief of staff can record conversations with people under the Cyber Act or some legislation?
Now, we don't record people. I'm not aware of anybody in my office who have ever recorded a person, but in this instance, it's me who advised the chief of staff to say, you may need to record your conversations with General Mkhwanazi because of the threats. It was not because for the commission, I wasn't thinking about the commission or any other thing, because he kept on saying, General Mkhwanazi is angry. When a person says, so-and-so is angry with you, you take it serious.
So can we just understand that even before this recording, Mkhwanazi had phoned Gabinde and spoke to him in a threatening, because who decided that his conversation must henceforth be recorded?
First, he just told me that there's a threat. He's angry. He's saying 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then he came back, I think third time in one day, as they continued to talk. And at some point I felt that the way things are developing, it looks like they're developing fast and they've got anger inside, but they now have threats inside. Now, when he mentioned this one of if the minister knows he is clean, no, I think it came before that one that I said, now we may now need to record. It was after he spoke about fight back. I don't think fight back was recorded, but I think it was at that point when I said, being experienced as I am, I felt that this may develop to something else. Then I said record, but that one of threatening on what I may have left in the Premier's office, when he mentioned that, I felt that, so there's a threat here. Okay. So we are discussing, he is wanting to meet me and so on, to discuss the disbandment, which is fine. Okay. I'm fine with, but so when it says, it sounded like a compromise. So you want to compromise me on things that I, as a matter of principle, I have to consider in my work. But because you don't like it, you then issue a threat and you date it back where it worked. It constituted the environment. Let me move on.
So Gabinde decided, he took it upon himself to record this discussion.
I advised the chief of staff.
You told him to record it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I said, you may need to consider recording, because okay. I don't normally have a discussion with a person and then you get threats in your work environment. And I didn't understand why.
Now that WhatsApp came on the 4th of April. Before that, you would have had the meeting with the portfolio committee on the 5th of March. Yeah.
Yes.
And you were in that meeting, Kwanazi, and all the senior management. They were in a meeting, your deputy ministers. The transcript of that meeting is in bundle 4 at pages 22 to 162. Now, the agenda for the agenda is not on the transcript, but what was required by the chair of the police portfolio committee, who's part of the ad hoc committee here today, was a report on the political killings task team, an update. So it's clear that as far as the portfolio committee was concerned, there is such a committee, and they want to know what's happening with the committee, what are they doing, and they also wanted to know what the plans are going forward. And as you will recall, that presentation was made by Lieutenant General Khumalo. Did it's not apparent from the meeting, from the transcript of the meeting, that the directive of 31 December was referred to or debated in that meeting at all. Would that be correct?
That's not correct.
It's not correct.
It was referred to by General Khumalo, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere when it started or during the presentation.
Yeah, but there wasn't any debate or questioning from the portfolio committee members about the directive.
I think there were some comments that were made down the line when members of the portfolio committee started talking.
Yeah. So Khumalo, can you just get the start of the transcript where Khumalo so anyway, we're going to just find the start of
yeah.
You may be right. You may have said that the presentation is done in accordance with the directive that has been received by the minister, but we'll find.
Yeah.
The point, though, is that the directive itself and your authority or power to issue such a directive was not debated or discussed. So
was not debated and discussed where?
In the portfolio committee meeting. So yeah, this is what he says, and it's at page 68 of the transcript. 44 of the transcript, but 68 of the bundle 4. So he says, is this Khumalo or the minister? Yeah, Khumalo starts his address on page 62 of the bundle. Then where he says, the Divisional Commissioner Crime Intelligence, thank you, Honourable Chair. Moving on next part of this briefing on the political killings task team, looking at status and successes so far. Then our first stop will be a brief look at the threat and risk assessment of the threat is continuously done. And then to where I wanted to be at page 68 of the bundle, 44 of the transcript, the second paragraph. He says, lastly, Honourable Chair, I will touch on the current status of the team. The Minister of Police had issued a directive to the National Commissioner regarding the disestablishment of the National Political Killings Task Team. There were various meetings that has been held, and a detailed progress report has been submitted of the office of the Minister. It should be to the office of the Minister. The disestablishment or disbandment will take the form of a transition from the National Political Killings Task Team to the Component Serious and Violent Crimes, specifically Murder and Robbery Unit within the Detective Division and Forensic Services. This transition will ensure continuity of these cases, especially those that are under investigation and those that are still at various courts. So, a few things that we can hopefully agree on and get through this quick. Firstly, he proceeds on the assumption that this directive has been received and will now be implemented in whatever form it's going to be implemented. And in fact, he says the disestablishment, disbandment will take the form of a transition from National Political Killings Task Team to Component Serious and Violent Crimes. That seems to accord with your explanation and your understanding that you had given earlier when you discussed the various components and said that this task team has been integrated into the component serious and violent crimes on the organogram. It specifically says murder and robbery unit. So we agree on that. We also agree that the directive itself, there doesn't appear to be an indication. Maybe when his turn comes, Honourable Member Cameron will ask you about this, but it doesn't seem to have been a discussion on the directive itself. Would that be fair to say that? You weren't questioned about the directive by any of the members of the portfolio committee. So the point about raising this is that there was a presentation by Khumalo. He talks about the disestablishment, but the disestablishment will take the form of a transition. And the significant thing about this meeting, the National Commission is in the meeting. And Konazi is in the meeting, although it's an online meeting, but they registered as present in the meeting. And although there are comments made, before we get to Konazi.